everyone, welcome to the That's So You podcast. This is episode 15, I believe. It's been a month or so since I last recorded. So much has been happening. Every time I want to record an episode, there's something stopping me. We've gone from problems with washing machine, problems with lighting, and some poorly kids. So finally, I have an opportunity to record. So yes, as I said, this is the That's So You podcast. My name is Diane, aka Mrs. You. This is a podcast mainly about knitting, but sometimes there's also some crochet and other crafty bits and bobs. Today is the 7th of December. The 7th of January. So Happy New Year to everyone who's out there. If you are a returning viewer, thank you for sticking with me all this time, and thank you for returning. And if you are a new viewer, welcome. I hope you like what you see and you come back again. Right, since it has been a month since I recorded last, I do have quite a bit, but not as much as I would have liked in terms of finished objects. Before I get into it, I did, before the end of December, want to record a sort of roundup video talking about all my favorites of 2017 and giving some stats. So what I'm going to do is that this is going to be just the regular podcast, and then at the end I'll do another section which will be the roundup and all the stats, and I will upload that as a separate video. So I'll try and do as much as I can today. If you do hear any noise in the background, that's because everybody is at the front of the flat. I'm in the bedroom. I saw that there was some good lighting, and I just thought it's now or never. I've been trying since they went back to school on Thursday to do something, and it hasn't been possible, so it has to be now. Okay, so I do have a few things to show you. So we've got some done and dusted, some on the needles, some goodies, and what else? Waiting in the wings. I won't do a word for the month just now because as everything has been last minute, I won't have anything proper to show. I don't like doing it when it's rushed. So that will come for the next recording, and possibly we'll do a what's on Ravelry as well if we can. And then at the end there will be the what's up with you, where I'll just go over all the stuff that's been happening, and then you'll understand why I haven't been able to record. Okay, so without any further delay, let's get started. So done and dusted. The first finished object to show is, let me just get to the right page on my notes. It is a test project I did, and it's called Electric Skylines. This is a shawl designed by Lola Johnson, who is the dyer behind Third Vault Yarns. Let's see. It looks little bit rumpled because I have been wearing it, and it's been folded up in this bag I have here for the past few days. So as you can see, it's what's it called? A crescent, I would say, shaped shawl with these different colours, skylines going across the base. As I said, I was a tester for this project, and this was in, I think, when did I start? I started it in September, finished in December. It was a great project to work on. Nicely laid out, easy to follow. It didn't take too long to make, even though I started it in September, finished in December. That's because there was a time where I had to leave it whilst I waited for new needles to arrive and also worked on other projects. But I did get through this. Whenever I did work on it, I got through it relatively quickly. As you can see, it's separated into different sections. Each skyline has its own section, and it's bordered by eyelets. The yarn I used, now I started at this end. I initially, because I didn't have enough of the main colour, I had to add some leftover yarn I had that was a similar colour to it, just to make up the numbers. Yeah, so this is the Yarn Yard toddy in a speckled colourway, and the main colour I have is Lamington Lass. I think it's soft sock in the Brer Fox colourway. So this is darker. So to try and sort of blend it in, I worked a few rows of the Lamington Last just to slowly add it in, and then so you can see that it kind of looks like it's supposed to kind of blend from one colour to another. So I think that worked really well. And the minis I used for the skylines, these are from, do I have it here? Yeah, it's Frankenstein yarns. I bought these minis a while ago, ages ago. I think either 2015 possibly. And initially was going to use them as contrasting colours for sweaters I was going to make for the tripolatas, but I used other yarn for that instead, and that's been sitting there. So where the original pattern requested you use 3 different colours for the skylines, I asked if it was okay if I just use 1 colour for each skyline, and yeah, it turned out like this. So I am extremely happy with this. I really love this shawl. As I said, it's an amazing pattern. I think it's coming out sometime this month, so when it does, do get one for yourself because you will not be disappointed. Oh, needles. The needles I used for this were 3.75, so yeah, and as I said, it works up quite quickly as well. Next for my finished object, and this is the last one. See, as I said, I didn't do as many finished projects as I would have liked because other things got in the way of my knitting. So this was my second and final finished object for the year. It's curling up a little. I did what's the word, block it, but I have to do it again probably. How to do it again. I just used the steam. I covered it with a damp cloth and then used the iron to steam block it, but I might have to do that again and maybe just leave it pinned out to dry. This was a very quick block because this I made, this is the Mabel cardigan by, who is this by? This is by, I haven't put her name down. I'll put it on the screen somewhere. Oh, where you can follow me, if I haven't done so already, will be on the screen somewhere along here. But yes, I'll put the name of the designer for this on the screen as well. So it's called the Mabel cardigan. I made this for Little Miss as her Christmas, Day garment. And yeah, so I finished this the Saturday before Christmas. And because of issues we had with lighting, I wasn't able to put the buttons on until, when was it? Christmas morning, on the way to my mum's house. That's when I was adding the buttons. So yeah, so that's why it was a very quick block. I also blocked it Christmas morning as well. The yarn I use is So Crafty yarn. It's an acrylic wool blend, but I think it's more acrylic than wool. I bought this from Aldi. It was really cheap. It was just a big, I think I've shown it. Actually, no, I might not have shown it on one of the, see, I didn't. It should be in my goodies section, but it's in the wardrobe there, and it's a really big 400-gram ball of yarn they had on offer there. I got two colors, the navy and it says cream, but I would see it, well, not really a white, I guess you could say it's a cream. So yeah, that's what I've done for that. So yeah, this was quick to work up to. However, I did kind of get not really bored, but just having to work these clusters here, I did get annoyed about having to keep working them, and that's why for the hem I haven't worked them. I've just done the slip stitches there, and then in between them I've just used the blue to do a garter section there. And yes, and for the sleeves as well, I can't remember if that's in the pattern or if it's just some of the other people who made it have also done the cluster there, but I've omitted the clusters there as well. But this is a free pattern, if I didn't say that already. Yeah, it's a very, very basic, straightforward. This is easy to follow, and once you've gone past this section, everything else is fine as well. I did do everything as instructed, except at the underarm I read through the notes of other people who had made this. Some of them said that they added some extra stitches at the underarm, so I did the same as well, just to give it some extra room. I'm just checking my notes to see what else I did. With the skirt section, you're supposed to work, for the size I did, you're supposed to work for 6 inches and then work straight for a certain amount of time, for a certain number of rows before, sorry, let me start that again. You're supposed to work the increases, and then once the increases are done, you work straight until you get to a certain length. I think it was 6 inches for this size, is that correct? Yeah. And then you start the hem. But once I'd finished the increases, that's when I got to the 6 inches. So I didn't do any, I didn't work straight or anything after that. I just went straight to the hem. And I've already explained about the hem. Yeah, that was it. So everything else was worked as instructed. That's the only difference I made, just that, and also the extra stitches on the underarm. So this was a really nice, straightforward project to make. There's a chance I could make it again, but if I did, I don't know if I would do the clusters, and I would definitely use a different yarn, though this isn't too bad because it is a heavily acrylic yarn. It just doesn't look as nice and, I would say, clean as, I hope you know what I mean. But yeah, it just, the yarn itself doesn't look as great as if I'd used something that had more of a nicer wool content in it. So there's a chance I could do another one and then use different colors and also a different type of wool. This is an Aran weight, by the way, and I use 4.5 millimeter yarn needles for this. That's it for my finished objects. So now to what's on the needles. I do have a few things on the needles. I'll just get some of them out of the bags. I'll start with these ones first. As there were issues with the lighting, I couldn't work on all the projects I wanted to work on. So the easiest thing for me to do was just to add some squares to my scrappy mitered square blanket. So this is where I'm up to so far. I haven't done a lot with it up until recently. So the new colors I added on were just, I think it was just 2 colors. Yeah, it was just these 2. These are both from Third Vault yarns, and there were minis that I got from the quarterly Goblet of Fandom Club, and these were both themed on Firefly. So this was Companion, and I think, don't quote me yet, but I think this is Reader. Yeah, so they're the only two I've added since I think I showed this last. And then I'll do the other two skeins, the other two mini skeins from that will go here. And then the next row will be the ones from the, which one was the next? The Discworld one will be next after that. So that's all I've added there so far. And the crochet one, if you have been watching for a while, you know the last time initially for the crochet one, I was doing a similar mitered square, a square to like granny square based one, but I wasn't liking how that was turning out. So instead, I just ripped everything out and went for a regular granny square blanket. So I think last time I showed this, I would have stopped there. So this one here is from, I think it's For the Love of Yarns UK, and she does a crochet hook club where every month you can get a crochet hook that has, oh, it's back there as well. You get a crochet hook. It's with a polymer clay handle and a mini skein to go with it, and also a pattern for a crochet square. So I can't remember what month I got this one in. And then on top of that, it's a 3rd Volt Yarns again. I think this is from the Firefly Club too. You can't really see it, it's just this sort of greeny one. And so if that blue one I showed you before is Reader, then this will be Pilots, or it could be the other way around. I can't remember. I don't know if that's focusing. And then on top of that, this sort of chocolatey green one, that's also 3rd Volt Yarns. That's their Merino Nylon in a DK weight, and that was, I think it was a Mint Cocoa was the colorway for that. So yeah, so that's all I've added on my 2 blankets for now, but I've decided this year, because I want planning to, one, the boys turn 10, if I think they would like it, to start making a blanket for each of them and work on it gradually till they turn, I don't know, like 16, 18, and then give it to them. So for that to happen, I'd have to have these done by the time they are 10. So I want to hopefully even do it before then. They're 7 now, so that means I'll have about, well, they're 7.5. So then I've got 2.5 years to finish this. So I'm aiming to try and at least add maybe 3 to 4 squares on the knitted one each month, and do at least, you know, 2, 3 or so rows on this crochet one each month, just to help me, you know, get there quicker, so I'm not rushing around just before their 10th birthday to get these 2 done. These 2 are generally going to be for me or the house, but yeah, I would like to start making them something for them if I get the sense that they would want something like that. Right, so those are my first set of whips. The next whips are, okay, I've got 3 actual ongoing whips. This one, well, this one is kind of hibernating at the moment until I get some other stuff done. And also I want to try and get some 9-inch cable needles for this. It's a, what are they? Mittens. These are the Burn the Capital mittens, again by Lola Johnson. This was part of the Hunger Games themed club that I received from her. I think it was in 2016 we got this. So I wanted to enter this into the Maker's Gift Along, I think it was. But because of all the stuff going on, I wasn't able to finish. So I've only, this is the first hand. So I haven't been able to finish this. Now I cannot remember all the colorways, so I might write them down on the screen if I can, if I have the time to. But yeah, this came with 3 minis, and each one is themed, of course, around the Hunger Games. Yeah, so I'll put a picture up to show you what the mitts are supposed to look like. So I'm just on the thumb gusset area. You can see here there's cables along the cuffs, and then this is the base of the flames for the mitts. So yeah, that's that. So this is one of the minis from that kit, and this is another. This looks a bit similar, but it has flecks of red in there instead. I don't know why this camera doesn't really focus so well when it's front facing. I'm recording from my phone, and this is one of the others. And this is the final one. So at the moment I'm working these magic loop, but because it's a stranded color work, it does make it a bit oh, I've been looking for this. It does make things a bit more difficult to do. So I'm going to try and get my hands on some 9-inch circulars. I haven't used them before because, well, I have a set of needles that are a bit smaller, but they're not really 9-inch circulars, and I find that a bit weird to use with my hands. I prefer working magic loop, but on that particular project I think 9-inch circulars would work a lot better. So once I get my hands on those, I'll start that back up again. And that is being worked on. Have I written it down? I don't think I have that written down in my notes yet. Yeah, I haven't written that in my notebook. Okay, so I'll put that down on the screen somewhere, the needles I'm working on for that. Okay, so the next one I have is a sock. I again started this hoping to finish it in December, but that didn't happen. But I have finished one of them, so it's not really a mofo yet. It's more just like a half object. So these are the cable cuff. Is it the cool cable cuff socks? Yeah, cool cable cuff socks. And this is by Rian Drinkwater. So you can see here, this features this cuff at the top with this nice cable going around it. And again, it's difficult because this is not focusing. And then the socks, just like this. I don't have my blockers there in the wardrobe. And at the back on the heel flap, or yeah, I guess you could say that's the heel flap. You've got this slip stitch section here. These are worked cuff down, so you start with the cuffs and then pick up stitches and then work down to the toes. So that's the first leg done. This is the right leg? Yeah, that's the right leg. No, the left leg. So I'm just on the cuffs for the right leg now. And so again, this is kind of on hold until I do a bit more work on the next project that I have. Oh, the yarn for this again is 3rd Volt yarn. If you watch this podcast regularly, you know that I have a lot of 3rd Volt yarns in my possession. I got this. What did I get this for? This was part of a tote bag club that they did. Yeah, and this came along with that. So the yarn is called the Vault Keepers colorway, and it is in Librarian Sock, which I think it's a BFL a nylon mix. If I'm wrong on that, I'll put that on the screen. Yeah, so I thought this is a nice colorway to go with, and I don't think the cables look too bad. I know normally cables don't show with variegated yarn, but I think this is coming up quite nicely. Okay, there, so that's that, and this is being housed in my simple it's sort of like a what's it called, one of those toiletries bags, but I use it as a project bag. This is what I use for all of my socks, and the mittens are being held in this cherry project bag. And the other ones I showed you are, I made these myself, just a simple sewn bag. But I am not a sewist or seamstress in any way, shape or form. I just whipped these up quickly before I bought project bags myself. Right, final whip, I think this is. Well, yeah. Well, technically it's not my final whip, but the other one I have is a sample for something, but I can't show you anything of that. Even this, I cannot show you it properly. This is a design project. This is my first cast on for the year, and also my first design of the year, and it's also the first sock in the Fairly Odd Socks Volume 2 collection. Last year I released a collection of odd paired socks called the Fairly Odd Socks collection. Yeah, so I've decided to do a second volume of that, and this is the first sock in that collection. I started this at the beginning of the year. This is what I've got so far. Again, as I said, I can't show it to you. This is an afterthought everything sock. I heard, who was it? Grace of the Babbles Traveling Yarn podcast talking about afterthought everything socks, and decided I should have a go myself. So I thought, as I'm doing these, I might as well make them a design sock and also make them part of the Fairly Odd Socks collection. So as I said, this is the first one in that collection. So this is all I can show you for now. The yarn I'm doing this in is, can you guess what it is? Yes, third wall yarns again. I do think it's a bit weird now that every single pattern I've shown you has been from the same yarn, pretty much. Yeah, it has. Okay. Maybe I'm obsessed, I don't know. But yeah, this is Third Vault Yarns again, and the colorway is Death. This is part of the Endless collection, which she released towards the end of last year. So I really loved this when I saw it online and had to get one for myself. I thought that it would make a great sock, and it does. I wish I could show you the front, but when I do, you will not be disappointed. We can see here there's some greens and greys. There's also a few flecks of purple as well. This is a really nice yarn to work with, and again, I believe this is Librarian sock, which is BFL nylon, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm working these on these are my high hires and 2.5 millimeter. The cable cuff socks are on, again, high hires, but that's 2.5 millimeters. Okay, now they are all the whips that I have that I can at least show you. There's another sort of whip I'm making, which is a sample. Lola of Third Vault Yarns has a book club, it's a book club subscription, and with that you get a pattern and some yarn themed around a particular book. So she's asked me to design a pattern for this month's club. So that's what I've also started working on, just doing some sample bits. So I do have the yarn for that, and it looks absolutely lovely. It's a kind of yarn that normally I wouldn't go for, but the way she's done it is in a way that I would like to use it. That's all I can say for now. Yeah, so that's in the living room. I did a small sample of the stitch pattern that I've been thinking of using. I did that yesterday, so I've just been thinking of what else I could add or do to it construction wise. So yeah, I'm going to continue on with that, and the afterthought everything socks today. So I think they will be my main two things today. And then tomorrow, I would have liked to have done this already, but tomorrow I would then cast on another project, which would be a sweater, but I will talk more about that in a moment. So that's all I have project wise. Next we will move on to goodies. So if I was to do this in order, I think other than the So Crafty yarn. When did I actually get that? The So Crafty yarn was in... Oh, that was November. So I think you might have seen the So Crafty yarn. Maybe, because I got that in November. But anyway. So, yeah. If I go in order, then I'll say the first goodies I got was most likely have been projects. Most of you will probably know that in December there was the whole Get Your Yarn Wish Granted thing going on Ravelry, and I granted some wishes and also had wishes granted for myself too. Mine were all pattern based wishes, because I thought that would be the easiest thing to do. So I just asked that people go to my Ravelry wish list and just get me anything from there. So 3 people were kind enough to be able to do that, and the patterns I got, I'm trying to bring them up on this phone, but for some reason it's not loading properly. I thought it would be easier to show you on the phone than to have to add the picture in later on. So I'll just write the name of the patterns on the screen if I'm not going to actually show them. I'll put the pictures up if I have time to do so. So the patterns that I received were Pavement by Vera Valiamaki, I think that's how you say her name. Northbound Sweater, I can't remember who the designer is for that, and Drachenfels, which is a shawl designed by Melanie Berg. So I was extremely happy to see those in my Ravelry library. So big thank you to those people who gifted them. My next goodies I picked up, one was 3 skeins of Cascade Heritage sock yarn. This is in the colorway is just done as a color here, but I'm sure it has a name. Can't remember what the name was showing up as online, but I'll put that again on the screen. This is a 400 meter per 100 grams. And the yarn, the fiber is, it's not showing, 75/25 superwash merino nylon, and the colorway is this lovely navy colorway. And as I said, I got 3 of these, and I'm going to use these to make the Swing Me Round sweater, and that's also by Lola. Okay. I think that'll probably be the final Lola pattern that I hope we make it. But this is it's a really lovely sweater that she's designed, and it's one that I've been wanting to make for a very long time. So now I've got the yarn to do so. I don't know if I'm going to add any other colors to it or just make it a solid color, but yeah, I might do so. But either way, I think this would be perfect for it. The next two sets of goodies I had, I got, I think, yeah, within this week, and they are all what are they called, from D-Stash. The first two I got, well, these are the ones I went for, and then the person I got these from added 2 other skeins of yarn that for free that they just wanted to get rid of. So these are both Coupe Knit Soxier by, what's her name, Rachel Coopy is the dyer behind that. They're not full balls. I think normally they come in 50-gram balls, but these are around 40 something each, and I thought that these would be great for another of the Fairly Odd Socks patterns. So I'm going to use these to make something for that. I can't remember what the colorways were. I'll put that somewhere on the screen as usual. Yeah, but I thought these would work absolutely lovely together. I think this is a light fingering weight yarn, and again it's just like regular merino nylon blend. So yeah, absolutely happy with that. The other two that they added was this Knit Pick Swish DK, one in the Corn Me colorway and the other in the Green Tea Heather colorway. So I thought that was nice that they've added that in, and I'll find something to do with this. I'll add, of course, to the blanket. Maybe use it to add to something for Little Miss or for the boys, but I thought these were a nice addition as well. And my final goodie is also going to be a sock for the Fairly Odd Socks collection. This, as I said, was from D-Stash 2, and that is the light on. Okay, no, sorry. Just the sun shining in makes it feel like the light is on. Yeah, this is what is this? This is Zalbable. Is that right? Yeah, Zalbable. The colorway is, I wrote it down somewhere, but the ink has come off. It's, I think it's Gresham, something like that. And it is a 75-25 marine wool nylon, and there's 420 meters per 100 gram, but this is not a full skein. I think there was 79 grams remaining when I got this, but it's still enough for me to make a pair of socks. I haven't decided exactly what I'll do with this or with the other one. Now, I have a general idea with this one, but nothing that's I'm sticking with yet. So look out for this and the other, the Coupe Knits one in the future. Right, so that's about 13 minutes. So that is my whips. I think that's pretty much everything. Next, where is that? Oh gosh, I knew there would be one thing I would leave. Okay, next I'm going to do Waiting in the Wings, but I've left the project bag for that in the living room, and I will just go and get it. I'm back. Sorry, just picked up a bit of chocolates and I've still got that in my mouth. Okay, right. It's actually really quieter than I thought it was going to be, and that's because they're all watching. Well, the boys are watching Boss Baby, and Mr. Yu and Little Miss have fallen asleep. Right, so where was I? Waiting in the Wings. Right, so the only pattern, as I said, was something I wanted to cast on. I would have liked to have done so already, but Monday I will cast it on, and that's going to be using these. And I've said already, I probably do have an obsession. This is 3rd Volt Yarns. The colorway is the Girl This is the main skein from the Hunger Games themed quarterly yarn subscription. So this came along with the minis that was with the mitts. So yeah, I'm using this along with this, which this is not Third Wall Yarns. This is Artisanal definition in the crocodile colorway. So I'm going to use these two together to make a breathing space sweater, which is by Vera Valimaki. It's one again I'd wanted to make for quite some time. This year I'm aiming to make 4 garments. Last year I did 2. Well, I finished 3, but technically only 2 of them were started within that year. So I'm planning for this year to do 4, and I want different types of garments. So I've thought about what I could use each one for, when would be the best time to make it. So I would like to make the breathing space with these. So I do want to get started on that very soon. And then the Swing Me Round, which I'm going to make in the Cascade Heritage, that I will start once I've finished with these. Yeah, I think that's everything sort of yarn and project wise. As I said, I don't think I will do the what's it called? I'm not going to do the word for the month. For those of you who don't know, that's where I share some scripture just to encourage you for the month ahead. So I won't do that today. Most likely I'll do that for the next recording. And yeah, I was going to do words on Valerie, but she's out there, and the project I was going to put on her is in there in the wardrobe. So I'll leave that for now because I don't want to get up again. Yeah, so if you are only interested in the yarny stuff, I think that's it for now. I'm going to move on to the the What's Up With You section, and then after that I'll record my stats and favorites of 2017. So if you're staying, great. If not, do check out the stats video, which should be up around the same time this is up. So I'll put a link at the bottom or on the screen or somewhere. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you for bearing with me. Hopefully it won't be so much time before I get to record the other one. I am going to aim to either record every week or every 2 weeks, just whenever I see time, just record. So that way there isn't such a big gap in between recordings, because it does get to me whenever there's a big gap, because I feel that when I then record, I'm just out of practice and I've got so much stuff to do and say, and I forget what I did last time as well. Who's that? And I forget what I did last time as well. So I'm aiming. I spoke too soon when I said they were all being quiet and watching TV. I've been joined by Mr. aka, what's your name?
Michael.
So why are you hiding if you want to be here? Right, yes. Yeah, as I was saying, so you see, you made me lose my train of thought now. All right, I'm going to now talk about all the stuff that's been happening. So if you are leaving now, again, check out the stats video, and I will hopefully see you soon. Okay, those of you who are staying, see, he's distracting me now. I keep looking over to him. What are you doing? Okay, so yes, the reason why I've been gone for so long. In December, well, maybe even before then, we had issues with our washing machine. It broke down, so that meant having to drag all of the clothes every week to the laundrette. to get them washed, and it was taking long to get that resolved because the landlord was blaming us for the fact that it got damaged. We did in the end discover what the problem was, and of course, as we said, it was not our fault. The person who installed the washing machine did so in a very incorrect and dangerous way, which could have caused a fire. So once we discovered what that is, we were able to get that fixed, and this was like a day before a new washing machine was due to arrive. So we contacted the landlord, and he was able to cancel the new one, and so now able to wash our clothes without having to take everything all the way down to the laundrette, which is not, you weren't doing anything, which is not fun at all. The next issue we had was the Saturday before Christmas. That evening, the light suddenly went out. The fuse tripped. So we put it back on. It happened again. Put it back on. It was fine. Sunday morning, this is Christmas Eve, they went off again and they kept going off. So we decided to leave it, contacted the landlord. He said there's probably a faulty fuse and to get our electrician. We don't have like a personal electrician, especially somebody who is qualified to do the job. So we were just stuck in the house with no light for Christmas Eve, and he wasn't really responding to our messages. Then come Christmas, because of this, I wasn't able to prepare the Christmas meal in the evening as I was planning to. And then Christmas Day morning, I woke up early just so I could be ready once there was enough light to get some stuff started, because we only had one lamp that we could use. So by the time I got all the food prepared and seasoned, and then started cooking, time was going. So we just decided instead that we would just go to my mum's house. We were planning originally to have our Christmas meal here and then go to my mum's house afterwards. So we just decided just go straight to my mum's house and we'd eat there. So we left when the turkey was pretty much almost done, but the other bits hadn't been done yet. So we just thought that can just be eaten on Boxing Day or another day, or cut up and used in other meals. Whilst all of this was happening, little Miss began to become unwell. So, the lighting didn't get sorted out until Wednesday. So we had another 2 days of no light in the property, which is why I wasn't able to knit. And during the day, the house is full of children. There isn't much time to knit, and you have to do all the stuff that you need to do before it gets dark. So that got sorted out. We ended up having to sort that out ourselves, and then we'll be reimbursed later on. And that's just to do with old connections and stuff in the loft. The whole place needs to be rewired. So once that was done, the next issue was illness. From Boxing Day onwards, little Miss just stopped eating. I think from that Tuesday up until the Saturday, she ate, I think, maybe like 4 grapes, had a bite of sausage on one day, half a fish finger on another day, and that's pretty much it. She was not eating anything. She had a bit of a cough, temperature. We took her to because things weren't getting better, we took her to the A&E on Saturday and was told that she most likely had strep throat. She was given antibiotics for that. It did not taste nice at all and was difficult to give to her because she kept spitting it out. Initially she wasn't. We were able to give it to her, but then she worked out our technique of giving it to her and then found a way to spit it out afterwards. So then this Saturday just gone. No, this Friday just gone, I gave her, but I didn't say already, the day is Sunday. So this Friday just gone, took her to the hospital again because she was now complaining of pains from her ear. And she had a cough. So once we saw the doctor, he said that it's probably linked to the throat. and it could be an ear infection, and it was an ear infection. So she's now been given a different antibiotic. Thankfully, this one is one that actually tastes nice, so she's more than happy to have this one. She actually says, delicious, when you give it to her. What are you doing?
I just want...
You just want to what?
I'm going to just like...
You lot have just eaten.
Yes.
You have just... Yes, and you finished your bowl, didn't you?
Yes, well, then I just had pork, a little pork, one pork, and I think had loads.
Alright, let me finish and then I'll sort out something, alright?
Yes.
Are you going to sit quietly or are you going to go?
Just go for a few minutes.
Alright, go on then.
See how everyone is leaving.
You're going to say bye to everybody properly. You said you're leaving. What are you doing?
I am leaving properly.
But as I was saying, yes, she likes these antibiotics. So far, so good. She's been taking them properly. So hopefully that should clear up very soon. She has perked up a lot. Today in church, she was running around as she normally did. Last week, she was just... My mum came to our church last week. And last week, she was just... didn't want to do anything, didn't want to know anybody. She just held on to my mum. And then we went to my mum's house on New Year's Day. And she spent most of the time just lying on my sister. So... yeah, now she's up and about, running around, screaming and shouting and fighting with her brothers. So that means she's back to normal. So yeah, it's been very, very busy and hectic and lots of things have been happening. But now the lights has been sorted out, washing machine has been sorted out, little miss is on the mend. The boys are also back in school. They went back to school on Wednesday. So hopefully now I'll be able to get time to sit down and just do some knitting, catch up on what I need to do. So yeah, that's what's been happening. In terms of the future, as I've mentioned, I've been asked to do a pattern for the book club for Third Vault Yarns, and also the book they're doing for this month is The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. So I've been listening to that on Audible, and it is a really good book. I'm not too keen on the narrator's voice. Sometimes I think her voice sounds a bit robotic. Kind of like, I can't remember what film it was. It's the film with Shia LaBeouf on it, and he and some woman are given instructions by this computer to do all these different things, and she wants them to get to Washington for something, and yeah, so it's that film. I can't remember the name. I know I'll remember it when I finish recording, but yeah, it's that film. Her voice sounds like a bit like the woman on that sometimes, so I'm not really keen on the narrator's voice, but the story... oh, okay, the lighting's gone. The story itself is really, really good. I'm on chapter 12 at the moment, so it's giving me a lot of inspiration for the design elements on that. And there's another collaboration I have possibly coming up later on in the year, and I've worked on a sample for that. I just need to make a few tweaks, and then before I finalize exactly what I'm going to do for that. So yeah, they're the two things I have. And other than the Fairly Odd Socks collection, design wise, the only other thing I want to do is possibly a shawl, but I haven't... close the door.
I just went in the toilet.
I haven't made any decisions regarding the pattern. I just know the yarn. That's horrible, Micah. I don't look. No. I haven't. Yeah, as I said, I haven't made any final decisions on the pattern. I just know the yarn I want to use for that. So yeah, that's everything. The lighting is starting to go funny now, so I will leave you and then get everything ready. Get everything ready to do the stats. Hopefully if I turn the lights on, that will help. If not, then I might leave the stats for this evening once everybody's gone to bed. But that will only be possible if little miss goes to bed early. And seeing as she's gone to sleep now, when it's after 3, I don't really see her going to bed early tonight. So yeah, I will bid you adieu. Say goodbye, Micah. And hope to see you soon. Do check out the show notes for more information on the projects I've shown you. They will be available on the Ravelry group. Okay, so bye for now.